Bamboo. We also have Adam Robinson, from, who is a landscape designer, I should say, and we have Jono Fleming, who's an interior designer. But we're going to start the session first off with you, Jennifer. Just give us a little bit of insight into the House of Bamboo.
Thank you, John. What I thought I'd do is I'd like to talk a little bit about House of Bamboo and where we came from. So sustainability has always been important to my family and I. My father started House of Bamboo in 1972. A little bit of it's doing there.
I was only just born then.
Oh, I wasn't even born.
That's a lie.
And he had a desire to introduce Australians to beautiful products that were made from bamboo and were renewable. And he was very innovative in his designs, and we continue that legacy of his. We produce beautiful natural materials. They're all handmade, which is quite unusual in this day and age. And we support a lot of villages, and we set some villages up in Vietnam that we still support now 25 years down the track. So we're really proud of that. And on a side note, I love visiting them because I'm working now with the children that my father set up with their parents. So it's just a really rewarding place to be. Now, I love bamboo, and what I want to do and hope I can do today and achieve is that you also become a lover of bamboo, or at least say to yourself, can this be made in bamboo when I make a design decision for my home or building that I'm producing? So I forgot to show you the slide. Here we go. That's me. And that's a home show in the middle picture of my mother and grandmother in the early days. So we really have been going for 45 years. So why is bamboo sustainable? I'd like to share some things with you. Bamboo produces 35% more oxygen than trees. It grows within a 5-7 year cycle of ready to be reharvested. So when you look at the timber industry, you're looking on average of about 30 to 40 years. So in a lifetime, you might get 2 plantations of produce. With bamboo, you're looking at least 7 to 10. It's quite amazing. It reduces soil erosion. We don't need pesticides or herbicides. And I know with forest industry and replanting, it's very important that once they do cut down that forest, there is great energy made into reharvesting it and resealing and preparing the land. The beauty with bamboo is it has a root system that generates itself. So when you cut the plant, it starts to regrow on its own. So it naturally will regrow and it will naturally reforest itself. Another key aspect of the bamboo industry is that it creates an economy for all the people that have difficulty in creating money. It's a simple industry, it doesn't have heavy machinery, and it provides, because of its short life cycle, a continued economic turn. And so we're really proud about that. So when I look at what happened recently in Australia with the fires, I know that I was watching the news and it really moved me because it was so devastating. And it was a real reminder to me about what's happening with our environment and the choices that we're making and how relevant it is that we make the right choice. And as an oversight, I was looking up some information overnight, and I've lost it. Where is it? Here we go. So I read that between the years of 2014 and 2018, we lost more than 26 million hectares of trees per year. So that's the size of Britain. And what surprised me more than anything is that was a 43% increase from the previous 3 years. And I would have thought in this day and age that we actually were working the other way. So that's really sad. And 90% of that was tropical rainforests. You know, we need our forests so that they start to trap the carbon, and they play a really enormous role in producing rainfall. And when we look at what happened in December and the ferocity of those fires, it's really an indication that we haven't been doing the right thing. So what's the challenge for House of Bamboo? The challenge is, how do we get you as clients or customers to start to really think about bamboo as being an alternate product that you can use in your homes or in the buildings that you do? Excuse me. Thanks, John. Just help me. So when I say to you, what's bamboo, I reckon most of you are looking at this and going, well, that's bamboo. And I'll say, well, can you use this in your home? And I think most people think, oh, well, a blind, or it'd be a nice decoration in a vase, I think. But the reality is that there is so much more that we can do with bamboo. I'm an architect, I come from an architecture background. So when I came into bamboo, I thought it was very important that although we had this wonderful array of natural products, I thought that it was very important that we could expand our range into an engineered. Technology has allowed us to do that, and we've found some wonderful people to work with to develop the bamboo plant into a sustainable engineered product that is a good competition to timber. And in fact, I believe bamboo will be the new timber of the future. So now in bamboo, here's a bamboo pole that's engineered. Here's some louvers that we did for Hayman Island, all 100% bamboo. And here's some curve cladding, all engineered bamboo. So today, anything in bamboo, anything in timber can be made in bamboo, and that's how you have to start to look at it. The important thing for us is that part of our mandate is that the resins that we use that make the bamboo and bind it are carbon-based. And what that means is that once you've completely used your product, you can put it back in the earth and it will decompose. You know, if I think about decking, a lot of people want decking and a lot of people are concerned about the maintenance of decking. And so they tend to buy composites that are plastic-based. And I understand that we're time poor and we don't want to be doing maintenance. But the reality is in Australia that we only recycle 12% of plastics. So you don't only have to think about the products that you choose that you're going to build, you have to think about what's going to happen when you don't want that product anymore. Can we reuse it? Can we put it back in the earth and give back? And I like to think of all of our products and how the way that we're working is that we take from the earth, we use it, and then we give it back. And that's how we're working at House of Bamboo in all the products that we're making. We're developing a range of materials that you can use and you can give back to the earth. So we take and we give back. And that's the cycle and the circle that I want to start working with. Part of us expanding and what we do is collaborating with people that also believe in sustainability and see it as an important part of us looking after our planet, because it's not about us. It's about the generations that we leave behind and the people that are going to be taking over from the work and the things that we haven't done correctly up till now. So I want to hand over to Adam now, because we were fortunate enough to work with him on some of his exciting designs. And Adam, I'd like you to talk about our collaboration.
Thanks, Jenny. So Jenny and I have been working together for quite a few years, and I'm a landscape designer, so I spec some of House of Bamboo's products in our projects. And I had a conversation with Jenny and I said, look, what do you think about doing a collaboration together? And she said, absolutely. Because I was interested in the sustainability properties of bamboo, but then I wasn't completely across it. So the collaboration was a good way for me to involve myself a little bit more in sustainability and educate myself, and also test the waters for what could be done. And I knew the background of House of Bamboo, that they were known for bamboo poles, and Jenny with this architectural background was working the technologies and pushing the boundaries to produce this engineered material. And I said, well, maybe we can come up with a range of pots. And, and in style at the moment that has been around and quite popular is the Hampton style. And I was doing this property in Wallara, and it was a beautiful property. And And the client wanted those classic timber boxes with the crosses on them. And I kind of thought, oh God, you know, surely we can do something a little bit more modern, a little bit more interesting. And I hunted around, and I thought, you know what? I think there's a gap in the market. So I designed this range, which was, you know, a classic timber box, I guess, but in a more modern version. And I drafted these up in 3D and showed Jenny, and she said, I love them, let's do them. It was as easy as that. It wasn't, you know, I can't even really dramatize this process because it really was that easy, which is a testament to Jenny, and I think it's a testament to what House of Bamboo can do, because as Jenny said, anything that you can imagine to be known as timber can be done in bamboo. So we sent these, or Jenny sent these sketches off to her factory, and the first samples came back perfect, which was pretty crazy.
I thought so too. I was waiting for okay, let's work on this bit and this bit.
Yeah.
And they were perfect.
Correct. So they're an indoor-outdoor product. This engineered bamboo, it acts and performs like a teak. So when you put it outside and it's exposed to the sun, it's going to grey out, which is beautiful, which, you know, I really love that finish, and a lot of designers like that finish. Or you could use it inside and keep this beautiful blonde colour. We've designed them as planters, so they don't have holes in the bottom, although you can put holes in the bottom, but we kind of saw it as to not put a hole in the bottom, so we could use it. If it was going to be used inside, you can put an indoor plant in there, and you would place it in its plastic pot, as I do with all of my indoor plants, and then you can have a plastic saucer down the bottom. And that just allows flexibility to bring it into the shower, to bring it outside, to give it some water and to give it some fresh air. Or you can waterproof the inside and then put a drainage hole in it, just like any other pot. So there's the three designs: the round, the square. They come in two different sizes, and then there's a beautiful elliptical trough, which we're quite excited about. And that was just the idea of, you know, it could be a room divider, or it could be, you know, up against a boundary fence where you got the pool coping, where you don't have a lot of space to move by, or a side path or something like that, where you still want some height and something really impressive there.
I actually had some interior designers come in 2 sets separately and said that they like that, to use them as umbrella stands in their home as you walked in, because it was just a piece of art. So it's, you know, it's whatever you think.
Yeah. So we're quite excited about this pleat collection, and you know, it's very new out, and we think it's going to be really successful with homeowners, but also lots of architects and designers specifying it for their residential and commercial projects.
Fantastic. Now, first of all, I can just go back to Jennifer. I love the way you spoke about the adhesives, or the way it was engineered, because I think there's a bit of mystery associated with that, and I think what are the questions that people need to ask to make sure that it's truly sustainable?
I think that comes down to the longevity of the company that's been around. There are a lot of companies that just sort of show up quickly and they buy products. It's an interesting thing. The bamboo flooring industry, when it first came into Australia, went crazy. Everybody was getting into bamboo floors. And then as there was a market for it, it got crazier and crazier. And then the price point of the bamboo floor went from what it should have been to some ridiculous cheap prices, and they were on eBay and online and stuff. And I felt for the consumer, because when you look at a bamboo flooring board, you can't tell the difference between qualities. And when you find out what the quality is that you've got because you've gone for the cheaper option, is when you start to have a problem and it's laid. And the biggest thing with the difference with bamboo is bamboo, from a plant point to what you get to make as an engineered board takes a lot of work. And the cheating process of it is that you harvest at the wrong time, because the bamboo plant will reach its full height within 3 to 4 months. So you're not waiting for it to grow. It looks like it's grown. And we know that between the years of 5 and 7 it's a little bit like a human being. I was trying to explain that. You're at peak performance in your 20s or 30s athletically, and then you start to go down. But you look the same, right? A little bit, a few more wrinkles now and then. And the bamboo plant's the same. We know that it's at peak performance through its cell structure between the 5 and 7 years. And so that's the peak time for us to harvest it, because we know that's at its strongest point, and then it starts to decline. So if you harvest prior to that, the same thing applies. It's not structurally at its best part. And how you get a cheaper product is that you must be using less material. It's as simple as that. So there's less bamboo in the cheaper product, and there's more resins. And those resins are harmful to the environment, and they're harmful to you as a human being. So, you need to look at the company that's been around. You need to look for FSC certification. And you need to know that, you're dealing with someone that's reputable and's been in the business for a long time and know what they're doing. And, you're only around for a long time because you're doing it the right way. Yep. It's as simple as that. And, there's a price point with that. But, if you haven't got the funds to buy the right thing, my suggestion is wait till you do. I mean, we talked about that, Jono.
Well, I think the key is when people are approaching their designers or as consumers, the key is to educate yourself as much as you can on what you're making choices on. And it might seem like a little bit of extra homework, but it's your home. And you're wanting to not do this over and over again. You're spending money. And I think that's what people fall into the trap of going, oh, but that's cheaper. It looks the same. It's cheaper, so I'll just go with that. And I think it's really important as sustainability becomes... It's always been an issue that we've needed to look at, but more than now. And I think the bushfires, unfortunately, that happened have made people more aware that, okay, we actually need to take action right now. So when you are wanting to take action, make sure you are doing those right steps and making sure you're making the right choices, and do your research and find companies that really know what they're talking about. And if you're not sure, ask the questions, because if you go to someone like Jenny, she'll be able to answer those questions of how is it environmentally friendly, how is it sustainable. Other people, if you ask that question to them, they won't be able to answer, and then you've made your choice there really easily. So don't be afraid to ask tough questions and, educate yourself there.
And that's making the, that's putting a little bit of pressure on the suppliers as well, which is good.
Yeah.
Because it's showing them that consumers are interested in how these materials lay on the earth. So if more consumers are asking those questions, then they're more motivated to think, okay, well, how can we make our business, our materials, whatever it is, more sustainable?
Yeah, absolutely. Put them in that space where they actually either need to really make a change. And look, people will still buy cheap products. That's just the way things are. But if we can make sure as an industry we're supporting those products that are made well, that are sustainable, and boost those brands, then that's all the better for it.
Jono, as an interior designer, you've also collaborated with House of Bamboo. In what way?
Well, as far as collaborate, not in the way that Adam
Not
has.
yet.
Not yet.
But...
Sign of things to come?
Of course.
But I do have, clients that do ask for bamboo, or maybe they're not particularly asking for bamboo, but they're asking for outdoor furniture, outdoor decking, different things in that space. And there is a sort of tendency to go, okay, well, have you thought of this? And it's my job as a designer to push them towards brands like House of Bamboo and go, okay, you like this teak look and feel, let's get you something that's going to be more durable, that'll last longer, and is better for the environment. And so that's my responsibility as a designer, to make them shop at the right places and guide them to the right things.
Adam, can I ask you, how can we how can we increase the use of sustainable materials in design?
I think it's having an eagerness, first of all. So it's I guess, setting your values straight. And as a designer, designers lead the trend, and then the general public follow. So I think it's our role as the designers to be interested, to be asking the questions, and to be educating ourselves about what materials we can be bringing in to our own projects. And I know myself, when you get a great client, that contacts you and signs on, and you think, wow, this is going to be a really fun project because it's large scale, or it's going to photograph really well, and it's going to boost my portfolio, then therefore boost the brand. And it's about us being on the front foot when we're dealing with those clients, and not just being led by them, and being somewhat strong or strategic in how we bring this language into the dealings with our clients.
How do you think, maybe I can ask all three of you, how do we compare on a world scale, do you think? I mean, are we up there with sustainable design, or are we followers?
It's tough. I think so much timber in Australia, something like 90% of timber, I could be wrong with that number, goes towards building, goes towards the building industry and not furniture and design. And so it's really tough for Australia to have sustainable forests to regrow and use as our main product base. So we do have to export a lot. But as Jenny said, you have these overseas markets where they do have forests, and they're providing like economies for other communities as well. But we are importing a lot at the same time from overseas for our materials.
Yeah, it's interesting because we don't have a bamboo industry in Australia. I think we're the only continent that doesn't. And why, I don't have any answers for you, but that's one of my missions. Because that's really important, We've got the land, we've got the ability to grow the bamboo.
It sounds like an opportunity, doesn't it?
It's a wonderful opportunity. And back to your question regarding, why aren't they being spec'd and stuff, I think from my experience, there's not enough understanding of bamboo. There's not enough understanding of how it can contribute to design. And you're right, there's a lot of wood going around at the moment, which is great because it does decompose and all of that. But the other side of it is, we know with deforestation that we need to find alternates. And, bamboo is such a natural alternate to timber. It just makes sense.
I mean, the benefits that you spoke about when you first introduced it is that I don't think it's common knowledge. I mean, that's the knowledge we need to hear more of, because, and even just to be able to bullet point what you've just said again, if you can, just give me the highlights of bamboo again.
Yeah, as a plant itself, it produces 35% more oxygen. It sequesters 4 times more carbon. It grows in a 5 to 7 year life cycle. So, we can continue to harvest the product. We can continue to make economies for the people. It's such a wonderful resource. And the more we start to understand it, and the more that, the world is developing how to make bamboo and engineered bamboo a product that everybody thinks of when they're thinking about a natural material that can do what timber can do. And in fact, bamboo is 1.5 times stronger than timber and lighter. So it has so many other qualities. It's stronger than steel, and it's got a higher compressive rate than concrete. So you just sort of think about, wow, what a plant.
Why do you think it's taken so long to take off then? When, if it has all those benefits, I mean, clearly the strength and the fact that it's so light, I mean, they are such big pluses.
I think because it was considered a poor man's timber. So most people think of bamboo and they think of cheap sort of hippies smoking a little bit of here and there. Am I allowed to say that?
Well, you just did.
And the technology wasn't there until in the last 10 years for us to take a pole and make it into a structural beam. So, it was a cottage industry, and we haven't really known how to do that until recently. So now that we have, I think it should explode and exponentially grow as an industry.
Just evolve. Jono, can I ask you, what prevents clients from using sustainable products, do you think?
Yeah, I think there's sort of two things. One is often just their own conceptions of what a product looks or feels like in their own head. I think the other one would be price. So, I mean, on the first point, people might have a certain idea of what bamboo products look like because of this sort of feeling of like very 70s sort of retro type thing. And all you have to do is just go over to the House of Bamboo stand and just touch the product and feel it and see what it looks like and just realize how versatile it is and how it is pretty much indistinguishable from, as Adam said, it's that teak finish that you are looking for as a client. The other thing is price. And I think that's where, again, as designers, we're the ones that really need to push to them. You're paying for quality, you're paying for all of that, but also you're paying for the peace of mind knowing that when you are done with this product, it can be reused again. And as you guys are saying, it's not just going into a pile where it won't get just landfill, really. It's just landfill. So you need to make sure that you're paying to help the environment as well. Like, we're paying to save the world here, which sounds dramatic, but it's actually just a very small token to actually do for such a bigger picture, and I think it's really important.
Yeah. You're mentioning cost before, and Jennifer, maybe this is a question for yourself as well. I mean, benefits always outweigh cost at the end of the day, but how does it compare to other products, cost-wise?
I compare it to a good hardwood, generally speaking. And, part of the process is, there's a lot of work getting a pole to a post. We've got to... Where is my pole? You've got about this much meat, a tiny piece of meat that you're trying to do, and you're trying to create a big post. So there's a lot of work involved with that. And so because the market isn't so large, obviously the cost doesn't outweigh itself, right? So the more that you choose bamboo, the more likely the cost will go down because the production prices will be there. But generally speaking, if I was looking at it, I'd say it's your top quality hardwoods is the comparable price point,
And off the back as well, what interests me a lot from a landscape point of view is the bamboo decking. And a lot of clients are fearful about using a timber because everyone's had a timber deck that has rotted out, which it does. But the good thing about the House of Bamboo decking is that they offer, is it a 20-year...
25, Adam?
25-year guarantee. And I say to my clients, look, we're going to, I'm proposing decking, and yes, it does take maintenance, and if you get 10 to 15 years out of it, then you're doing well. But if Jenny's giving a 25-year guarantee, I mean, how much longer will it last after that?
Longer than me.
I mean, that in itself is, that's a big number to be able to quote.
It's insane. And that's very attractive for clients. So I've only known this for a couple of weeks, and I've just mentioned this to...
Keep ringing him. How's my bamboo decking going, Adam?
And that's attractive. Yeah. That is attractive. And from a price point of view, coming back to your point, if it's pricing up the same as a hardwood, if it looks similar, if it grays similar, then it's a clear path to
win,
go
isn't
down.
it? With all those other benefits that come along with the product. Yeah. Can I ask you, Adam, has our approach to design and styling changed, do you think?
So yes, it has. Will it change more? Yes, absolutely. I think people are just starting to ask more questions, and companies are feeling the pressure to produce materials that are more sustainable. So, I mean, have we seen a massive change? Yes, but I think there's something really big and powerful coming.
Yeah.
Well,
what's that? You going to share that?
No, it's I don't have anything to share.
I'm thinking, my God, we're about to hear something amazing.
No, but there's going to be so many companies which are following Jenny's lead.
I was just going to counter that and say, at that same note, there are also a lot of companies, big chain stores and things that are producing a lot of fast furniture. We have a lot of disposable rip-off furniture happening in the industry and products and things like that. So that's, you know, one side of the industry is going towards the future. The other side is actually bringing more stuff to the mass market, but is it for the better? The answer is no. It's
and
just...
these companies are big, so they have a lot of financial support behind them, and they're making way.
So I think that's our job going ahead
100%.
as designers, as people who represent the industry, to really take a really strong stand against those sort of things.
Yes.
Because that is the danger that could ruin a lot of other parts of the industry.
Absolutely, yeah. I think one of the things that in the years of my involvement with the sustainability design industry is that people don't realise the health benefits that come into using a sustainable product at the end of the day. There's a wonderful rug company, International Floor Coverings, who provide no conflict. That's complementary collaboration to bamboo flooring, but it's antimicrobial. So people who suffer from allergy don't have the same reaction they do to other products. So it's all these other benefits are hidden with a lot of sustainable products, and we don't know about it. Yeah. Jenny, what actual products do you actually produce? Is it the raw product that becomes other products, or just tell us about your product base?
We produce, so how it works is that we do a lot of design work here. We understand the nature of bamboo and the associated culprits like rattan and seagrass and core and sisal. And we take the inherent qualities of those materials and then we make designs that we believe suit the material. At the same time, we know what our customers are asking for and wanting, so we try and design some products that work for them, that they can use on a day-to-day basis. So we do fencing and we do privacy screening and we do shading and we do a wonderful decking product. And then for interiors we do wall panelling and the same sort of ceiling and then flooring. And we're starting in the last 12 months to work with bespoke products so that we work with, you know, because there are so many wonderful designers out there that have such wonderful ideas. And so we decided not to limit ourselves to what we can do, but to really expand our base of products and use the designers' ideas and develop from that. So, you know, our range is what I call organic, which are all the materials that we don't have to modify. And then it's our engineered contemporary range, which we now know how to make, and we've done some wonderful jobs, and those planters are a beautiful example of that.
So you've converted me into bamboo. I'm now using the product. How do I maintain it?
Oh, well, it's just like timber.
It's
just like timber.
Just like timber,
So
yeah.
the question is, if it's used externally, it's going to grey off, just like teak does. There are more and more people that are liking that greying off and just letting it happen and allow nature to do
Very
exactly
low
what it
maintenance.
does. Very low maintenance. And otherwise what you do is you oil it or do whatever you need to do. It's a natural product, so it's going to respond to water and sun and all the things that we respond to. So, yeah.
Thank you. Adam, you mentioned before that the Hamptons is still a theme that people are working towards. Can I ask all three of you, what do you see as being on trend currently?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think trends can sometimes be a little bit too overarching in the industry and be like, buy this right now, throw out your old thing and let's buy this. So I think a trend I'd love to see is people actually investing in, I'm just like genuinely investing in good quality product and making that a trend of, it helps finding your own individual design and style and all of those sort of things, but it's also just a trend that I'd like people to teach themselves of investing in good quality things. So you don't have things that you're throwing away. And, you know, just Jenny listing off every single thing that bamboo can do just then, I'm like, you know, just actually hearing it, even for me, I'm like, wow, that's so flexible. I'm resold on it every time I hear Jenny talk about it because it's an incredible product. But, you know, rattan and, you know, cane furniture, that's come into fashion a lot recently, come back again, it's really trendy again, but people are doing it differently, people are modernizing it, and I think, you know, you can hold on, if those pieces are well made, you can hold on to them for another 30, 40 years. You don't have to throw them away.
Yeah. Adam, there's so many terms for it these days. The outdoor room, or the fifth room. It's that outdoor space is now. It's almost the dining room of the home these days. What's on trend, or what are people putting into these spaces currently?
Well, as the spaces are getting smaller and smaller, I like to challenge the heart of the home, because every for sale sign, used to have a picture of the kitchen, where now it's always that connection to the inside and outside. So that connection and blurring the lines between the inside and the outside, I think, are very on trend. And with these spaces getting smaller, and with us all appreciating the healing effects of plants and raw materials and being outdoors, I think the big trend is bleeding the hard materials with the softer landscape.
Yeah. Wonderful segue into the next question there. In regard to bamboo, if you are using it internally and then externally, is there a different maintenance application, or is it the same product, same treatment?
I'll answer that in two ways. Firstly, my mandate has been to develop products from an engineering point of view in bamboo that was suitable for outdoors. Because if I can get outdoors right, interiors are easy. Because the biggest problem with outdoor materials is the sun and the rain. So if I can produce a material that withstands the Australian climate and upholds itself well in it, then you can use that product internally, and it blends. It's easy for that process then to do. In terms of maintenance, well, maintenance is only required if the sun hits it. That's the truth. So if you have outdoor materials and they're undercover like decking, and you want to maintain whatever colour it is that you've made it, it'll just stay that colour. That's the truth, right? Because our sun's one of the harshest. And it was interesting, we did a project in Holland with some decking, and they told us how it performed, etc., etc. And I thought, well, that's fantastic, let's do it here. Completely different results. And that's because the sun that we have here is far harsher. And so we really need to work hard at a natural materials being able to support the process. So that has been our mandate, and we've been successful in producing external materials because most people in Australia want to live outside. So, we want to live outside and enjoy the sun and the beautiful weather that we have.
So can I ask the question then, is it classified as UV tolerant, or does it have to be treated?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, it responds to the sun like timber does, so it'll fade. But in terms of it breaking down and stuff, it won't break down because of how we've worked with producing it as an engineered material.
So clearly, the answer would almost be yes, is what you're saying. That I only ask that because it is a manufactured product. So right. Is there a treatment process that actually alters the UV elements to it?
To be honest with you, when we started this process 10, 15 years ago, we didn't get it right. And it's taken about 7 or 8 years of research and development to get it right. So the moment we found the right solution and found resins that were carbon-based and found that it was tolerant outside in the weather, then there was no stopping us. And that's just been a blessing.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, you've convinced me to buy a bamboo, by the way. Thank you.
Fantastic.